Hey guys, welcome back to the Captain's Corner Pod. I am your co-host, your co-pilot, Ray Russell here, and bringing you all the goodness of one Nick Masci. And to find out what's going on in the latest in the world of the Captain's Corner, it's time to bring him back onto the show right now. So let's ask that ever important question. What's happening, Captain?
Oh man, Ray, episode 6 can't be missed. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you and everyone on the WrestleCopia Network. And we're going to talk a lot of fun stuff that's going on in the Captain's Corner universe today. A bunch of big conventions coming up. We've got 2 that are publicly announced, one that will hopefully be announced in the days and weeks to come. But we're preparing for November 16th, the Wrestling Classic 5, Ray, and that's in Springfield, Mass. You ever been to New England?
I have been up in New England.
You have a favorite city? Favorite state up here?
No, we just kind of passing through, stopping and seeing some sights and drinking a few beers. Nothing really stood out specifically. We didn't hang that long. This has been a long time ago. I'm talking 20 years ago, we were driving around and back, before, 40 kids and the wife and everything like that. We a weekend out, right? So we did that a couple times, but nothing in particular sticks out to me, but that's because we didn't hang around anywhere long enough. So definitely need to make our way back up there for sure.
You and the fam need to come up to Springfield, Massachusetts, enjoy New England, maybe in the fall. I'm not saying this fall, obviously, it's coming up in a few weeks. The fall is beautiful up here. Springfield, Massachusetts, we got the Basketball Hall of Fame. We've got the MGM Grand, but we also have the Wrestling Classic. That's where we're based out of. And November 16th is the next Wrestling Classic, the South End Community Center. And my goodness, we're getting the reunion of Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross, 2 people that I've always held near and dear to my heart. JR actually headlined my first convention in April of 2019, Mark Out the Meadowlands. And so this is the second time I'll be working with him. And Jerry Lawler, I can honestly say, is someone that's been very high on my bucket list. I think he could be, if not he could be the greatest in-ring talent of all time. I'm such a huge Jerry Lawler fan. So to work with him is a true honor.
Yeah. And Nick, I've said that over the years myself in regards to Lawler overall performance wise, right? Like, is he the best technical wrestler? Did he do a whole lot of flips? Though he did do things that I couldn't believe, somebody that looked like Jerry Lawler could do, throw the drop kick or take those crazy backflip bumps over the top rope to the floor without even thinking twice. So, but overall, you're right. Just, he was able to get in the ring and work any style with anyone. And that's why I loved him. I hated him growing up on ESPN, those 20-minute stall matches down in Dallas. But in general, I love the King. And yeah, absolutely. He was always my top 5 to watch.
Same thing. Growing up as a kid, I was a huge modern-day Warrior, Kerry Von Erich fan. And when Lawler and Kerry were having their big feud in '88 over unifying the AWA and world-class world heavyweight championships, I was Team Kerry. As I've gotten older, I really think between not only the in-ring stuff, because what an athlete Lawler was. He didn't look like maybe the athlete of the time, but man, he could do everything in the ring. Then you throw in his promos, then you throw in the fact that he headlined one territory for pretty much 40 plus years. That area, Lawler can still pop a house in Memphis today. I'm really excited working with Jerry Lawler. As you can hear, I've worked with a lot of Memphis guys: Austin Idol, Dutch Mantel, Jimmy Valiant. So Lawler will kind of complete that holy grail of Memphis guys. And joining JR and Lawler will be Deborah McMichael, Ron Simmons, just a lot of great names at the Wrestling Classic. Of course, Downtown Bruno, can't forget about him. We've had him on the podcast recently. Sure.
And congrats to Bruno. Got his own podcast now, I see.
Oh, he does? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was like the day after our show, he announces he's going to Conrad.
Oh, really? So you know what? We might give him a little rub on episode 5 of the Captain's Corner podcast.
Well, you tell yourself that, Nick.
No, I'll tell us both that and everyone that's listening today, Ray.
Okay, but, I'd buy into it.
There you go. And in addition to the Wrestling Classic, of course, coming up this February, crazy to think, only about 4 months from now, we're gonna make our maiden voyage to the Pacific Northwest area. That's right, we're gonna stop in beautiful Portland, Oregon, for the Portland Wrestling Expo, and that's going to be Saturday, February 22nd, and we've got some names announced for that already, Ray. Some we brought on the podcast already. The Grappler, right. Top Gun, Ricky Santana, Moondog Ed Moretti, and we just announced the other night, Mean Mike Miller will all be coming to the PWE on Saturday, February 22nd.
I love it. We talked about this before we even started recording the Captain's Corner podcast. You were talking to me about the idea of the Portland Wrestling Expo, and then boom, it was happening, and that was so damn cool. And then you started saying, well, who are we going to get? And you've really started doing some searching and finding some of the real talent that was there during the meet of the 1980 lot. We lost a lot of the guys from prior to that, so we can't have a Dutch Savage there, but we sure can have a Top Gun or a Mike Miller and on down the line. That's pretty damn cool that you're finding everyone who is anyone that's still around to be part of this for the first time ever, especially this magnitude, all the way out there in Portland, giving the Portland fans and people from afar, giving them, what they want.
And you know what, Ray? Like you said, Dutch Savage, Rip Oliver, Buddy Rose, Roddy Piper. There's a lot of talent we can't have, but there's a lot of talent that are going to be there on February 22nd.
And I believe we have one of them on the line right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can bring him on here. Mean Mike Miller, welcome to the show.
Mean Mike, there he is.
What's going on?
What's going on, man?
I've been trying to get this phone going,
Looks like we hit a home run, though, Mike. How's it going?
Oh, everything's going good. How about you?
Very good. Now, Mike, we're actually you popped in at the perfect time. We're talking about the Portland Wrestling Expo, Saturday, February 22nd. You'll be a part of that, coming to the Holiday Inn at the Portland Airport. We'd love to sit down right now, talk to you a little about your time in Portland, maybe do a name remembrance with some of the names that'll be at the PWE. What was your first memory of Don Owens, hearing about the Don Owens territory, the first time you heard of the Portland territory?
Oh, first time I heard of it, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Went up there and worked for the Crockett's, and Ric Flair. That's when Rick won the belt. So things they give me my notice, and I was telling somebody about, look, I have about 3 or 4 weeks. They said, well, you go up to Portland. So I said, well, that's fine. I didn't even know where Portland was. I got in my car and I drove from North Carolina to Portland, went in and met Don Owens that night, my first match. And hell, I've only been in the business like maybe a year or two. And then I went over at night. I won my first match. That was my introduction to Don. I go in and he's raising heck. Jesus Christ, you're running late. We need to get out there and get it done. It was kind of a strange deal because I left the East Coast and I used to wrestle at the Superdome, the big events down in Florida. Then I get out here and they have that bowling alley. But I'll tell you what, we made a lot of money there. A lot of people started, and just like you said, you have this expo going. Thank God you have a few of the guys that used to wrestle in Portland, like the Grappler, Ricky Santana. He's coming in.
Yep.
And me and him went all over the strap matches. Moondog Moretti. Me and Moondog were like tag team partners for 2 or 3 years there. Carried the belts for a long time.
Yeah, you guys are tag champs, Pacific Northwest tag champs.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I think between the tag titles and the heavyweight title, Mike, I think you held the titles there about a dozen times combined.
I held the tag titles 8 times, and I think the single title 7 times.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you talked about arriving. You're not the first person that has told us the story about arriving there for the first time and seeing the bowling alley, expecting an arena and seeing the bowling alley. But what was it like once you got going? Maybe not just the first time you wrestled, but after you got a half a dozen matches in at the bowling alley, at the Portland Sports Arena. What did you think of the fans in Portland?
They just, when you can go into a building and wrestle, a lot of the old guys, get your blood going and all, they would come up to you later on and say, man, I said, I hate your guts, but I really feel better when I leave Saturday night. I can sure sleep, I guess we're more therapists than we were anything else. It was kind of a small venue then. I think Dutch Savage was there, and Frank Bonneman was my first announcer there. And he was only there like 3 or 4 months, and that's when he passed on, and then Don Cox took it.
Yeah.
He learned a lot because poor old Don, he come in there and he said, I don't really know too much about professional wrestling, but he had that voice. I mean, it went good. He was there for, I don't know, a long time before he actually, it took him a while. And you got Moondog, you made Ricky Santana, the Grappler, and the Assassin. You're going to have a house full. I'm going to tell you. Right now, you probably got about a handful of wrestlers that have wrestled for Don Owens. I'm anxious to get up there. I'm anxious to meet the people that I used to, go in there and entertain for.
That's what I think is going to make this so special, Mike, is the fact that unfortunately there's a lot of greats that aren't still with us. Your Buddy Roses, your Rip Olivers, Roddy Pipers. They're not able to make this. So we need to celebrate all the talented individuals like yourself, like the Grappler, like Top Gun, like Ricky Santana that are still with us, that still want to connect with the fans of a place that, at one point, everyone that was anyone in wrestling came through the Portland territory for Don Owen and his family.
There's a lot of people started there, just like you said, yeah. They went on to bigger and better things, but they've always called Don and come back and got on his card, even if it was from the WWF or WCW, whatever. We can get Flair in once every year. We get Andre the Giant, we get the midgets, and we get the lady. It was a heck of a little territory to wrestle for. And I tell you, on the 21st, well, I'm arriving on the 21st. On the 22nd, I think the big expo is. So I want to make sure I see everybody used to come to the matches because I was there for so long. I saw little kids grow up and they had kids. So yeah. I would really enjoy that.
So Mike, I'm going to take you away from Portland for a moment because I know you had about an 8-month stint in Calgary working for Stu Hart and Company. And you got to work with the likes of Davey Boy Smith, Bret Hart, David Schultz, Hockey Tonk Man, Wayne Ferris. But I had to ask you, I noticed you arrived in Stampede in Calgary in December, the winter, the worst time to go to the Calgary territory. We've heard horror stories of the road trips throughout the winters in Calgary. I was wondering, do you have any of those stories to share or just your memories of the winter you worked for Stu Hart?
It would get so cold. I mean, those people would plug their blocks in, their motors, to keep them warm, to keep them from freezing. And one day, it was me and David Schultz, Honky Tonk Man, and the Cuban Assassin. And we're going down to Saskatchewan to wrestle, and off right across this valley, and it's so damn cold. He's got his defroster on, cut that thing on him, and when he does, it forms ice around the inside of your car. It's so cold. One night we was riding on there. They pulled us over and made us get our RCMP did made us get out. And of course that was fine, but it was so damn cold. They were making us stand up there. They went through the car. Okay, y'all go. Yeah, But hell, we were freezing to death. At least I wasn't in the van. Now they had a van that carried 18 people, and they probably put 23 people in it. So,
well, at least they stayed warm that way, right? Body heat.
Yeah, but you better not go to sleep in the van. I tell you, you take out of Calgary, go to Saskatoon, then you had to Regina, and then right after that, you get in this van, and you got a 300-mile trip. So you all pile in. One night, Stu got in there, he got everybody inside the van, boom, boom, boom. He gets out there, they're riding down, probably about 20 people in this van. They're all yelling and shouting and carrying on. Stu, he goes out, takes the leak, didn't wash his hand or nothing, get back in and smells all of his chicken and goes, anybody want a piece? Of course, nobody eat it, Yeah. I was up there about a year because that's when Bret Hart got started. Dynamite Kid was there with Davey Boy Smith, and then you had The Cuban Assassin was there, of course. And then all the Stu's son, Wayne, used to drive, and he used to be the announcer. But that band's kind of a little. There was an old guy named, he was up there and he was managing Dynamite Kid. And Dynamite got him inside the band, started giving him some pills and shit. He did this for months. Guy went into the doctor and said, "Doc, I can't sleep. I don't know. I either sleep too much, I don't sleep enough." Blah, blah, blah. He went and give a blood test on him. He said, "Man, what are you addicted to?" So he he got addicted from not driving in the van with us. So, but and I was just lucky to go up there in I think I was up there in '83, and just kind of stayed. I went to Canada. Just like I said, I went to Canada, then I came back. The experience in Portland now where, Rip had the clan going, me, Rip, or Buddha Deem, or me, Rip, the Assassin, or it was kind of a small town setting. It's a big city, but it was a small town setting with the fans. You could get personal with them, and of course you saw them. Every Saturday, Don would have Saturday night special where he bring kids in free with a paying adult. We used to always tell them, keep them kids at home. Next day we'd have a full house.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah. And then later on, after Grappling showed up, I got out there and they wanted to turn me babyface. I didn't like that much, but anyway, I was in the dressing room one night. They had Steve Dahl down in the middle of the ring, about 6 of them, kicking his butt. So I start out the door, and there's a 2x4 across the top of the door. I reached up and grabbed it, and when I pulled it down, they had all them naked nails sticking out of the bottom of it. And I told Don Owens, I said, "There's six guys. How am I gonna get them out?" So when I grabbed that 2x4, I went out there and started poking them in the butt with them nails. They all got out. The next 2 or 3 towns I'd show up with, everybody was bringing me a 2x4 to the mag. Here's one here. This guy, he brought one night. He didn't even cut it. It was about 7 foot long. He said, "Put this up Rip Oliver's butt." That's when me and Rip had a thing going. And by the way, I'm going to have Lucille there too.
I'm gonna have to get a graphic for Lucille, Mike. You have one graphic, and Lucille will have her own graphic.
Sure, that'll be good. I'm planning on making some small ones, like I did. I made some small ones, wrapped a chain around it, nice. Bandanas on it, and that was when I first got started.
The mean man's got to come back home, and that's what's going to happen on February 22nd.
Just like I said, when I first got the call, I was real happy about it because I've been going through some health problems, but I'm doing better now. Don't let that fool you, because I still got it.
You sure do, Mike. Now, we brought up a lot of the great talent inside the ring that you cross paths with. I got a question about someone outside the ring, but that, of course, was involved in the Owens family promoting the Portland area, and that's Elton Owen. Everyone has an Elton Owen story. I'd love to hear one from you, Mike.
Jesus Christ, you look like a bunch of Indians. He walk in, he was, well, you know how Elton looked, had that cigar, and he'd puff on it and come in, I remember I would sit down there at in Eugene. I would sit kind of behind the door. So when you open the door, you didn't see me, but you closed it. I was sitting right where I always dressed. One day he come in, somebody took Elton's going. First thing he does, he comes over, opens that door. You smell him coming, cigars blaring. Jesus Christ, look like a lot of fat people. Ain't too many people there. So, he's just carrying on. He said, "I think we'll have, he's going on, carrying on, smoking that cigar." One of the guys reaches up and puts a fishing hook with about a 6 foot long line behind it on the back of his jacket. He's got a real nice jacket. He goes out that door, and all these people walking. They step on that line and pull his. Jesus Christ, some son of a bitch is pulling my jacket. One day we had a show. We went down there. I was supposed to hit the ring. I hit the ring. I guess it was Steve Dahl. I pulled him over, put Rip on top. I rolled out of the ring. A guy come out of the audience with a chair. I nailed him. He went down. I mean, he was gonna hit me in the head with it. Don, he comes back later. Jesus Christ, Miller, can't you take a chair? I go, damn, Don, it was a biker about 300 pounds. So he brings the biker back. He goes, Miller, you need to apologize to him. I said, no, I ain't apologized to him for nothing. Rip goes, come on, Mike, I'll go with you. We go out the door. A guy standing there, he's weaving back and forth. His head's all cocked to the side. He said, man, Miller, he said, reach out to shake my hand. He said, I'm sorry. And I reached up, I shook his head. I said, yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't mean it. I turned around, went back in. It's the only thing I could think about saying. So,
Mike, later on, after Portland folded, you eventually went back to work in Memphis, which I think one of your earliest territories. You stopped through Memphis, but near the end of your big time run there, you got to work with the King, Jerry Lawler. Near the end of 92, beginning of 93. And we've got a podcast on the WrestleCopia network here that covers USWA. They go back and they review USWA, and they just covered that recently, your feud with the King. The storyline is what gets everybody. They want to know, what was your opinion on the fact that Nick, I don't know if you know this storyline. The whole angle stems from Jerry Lawler claiming that maybe Mike got too drunk at a New Year's Eve party or something like that. The King kicked him out of the house, and somehow that's a feud. What were your thoughts when they pitched that to you? What were your thoughts, Mike?
I said, well, anything that'll make $1. Let's go do it. A New Year's Eve party, and I was having fun. I just kind of did it like if I had been drinking, because that's the way I was. And I'm standing over, I said I was over drinking, having a good time, yelling, carrying on. Lawler said, I seen him over there partying. He went over. He said, Miller, you need to calm it down a little bit. And I told him, ain't nobody gonna tell me to calm down. About that time, bam. So I looked. I told him I brought the New Year's Eve flat on my back. Yeah, that was a little angle we did. Then the next Saturday we went down there, and then we went to the Coliseum with it.
What ended your run there? Was it just time to go?
My wife and kids was in Oregon. I decided I need to go on back to them. So I sat there. I was just fixed to get a shot with Lawler, and we were working this big thing for us. My wife called. The babies want me. They were wanting, So I chose family before I chose going, which I should have stayed in Memphis, but I did all right. I come back home and got right back in the seat again. So I'd have to get a program out to see who all was there. Joey Jackson, Buddha Dean. Buddha Dean is probably the best partner I ever had. Him, Moondog Moretti, Carl Steiner. When I left Memphis and I come back to Portland, that was my last run. I didn't go anywhere else. I stayed there in Portland and then made a few tours to Japan and just kind of kept it at home. I called Portland home because I was there for 30 years.
We brought up so many names that you've crossed paths with in Portland. You were active wrestling in Portland for over a decade on and off. But one name we haven't brought up is, and I know someone you've teamed with and you were across them in the ring, and that's Hangman Bobby Jaggers. What are your memories of Hangman Bobby Jaggers?
Yeah, I got a picture when me and Bobby held the Pacific Northwest belts. That's what I'm going to be selling when I bring up there. I said, now this one, everybody knows Bobby. Bobby can run that mouth inside the ring and outside the ring. Hell, he used to ride with us, and me and Rip be up there driving, and Bobby would stick his big old face right there between us and just start talking. For a 300-mile trip, he's telling me something, he'd turn around and tell Rip. Back and forth, till we get a little tired of it. We go, Bobby, sit your ass back. And he'll start pouting. Oh, okay. All right. Him and Chris Colt too. Chris was another good. I like Chris. We had some real good matches, but he was always first, second matches, especially for Don. Chris had a background you wouldn't believe either. Went out as a Hell's Angels. Hell's Angels almost killed him. So he got out of that.
Yeah, barely. I think his partner was Maine permanently.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to party there in Portland. I'd go out to the Outsiders Club. I'd go out to the Brother Speed and Gypsy Jokers. I never had any problem. I always had friends there. I used to hang out at Jody used to be my one place to go to have a good beer, and let me tell you this. Me and the Assassin and Rip Oliver, we just got through with the matches on Saturday. So we got out and Rip goes, where we going to go? Somebody said, hell, you ought to go up to, I think it was called Hot Country, Jody's. We went up there. We got us a table in the back, having a good time. We were having a great, just us. And then this girl, she comes over, wants an autograph. We give it, brings her boyfriend over. So he starts running his mouth. Well, by that time, I get up. He takes a swing at Rip. Rip nails him. So I'm holding on to Rip's belt. He's pulling me along. So the guy picks up a chair, throws it, and hits me in the side. So I'm after him now. And then the Assassin's there. So the Assassin nails him. So I look up. The band doesn't come off stage. They're holding Assassin back. They're so holding Rip back. And I get this guy straddled him. I got my hands in his hair, going, kick him, Rip. And I looked up and didn't anybody do it. So I just nailed him behind the ear. And that was our first experience in Jody Tanner's place. I had Michael, Taylor, Amber, and when I wasn't wrestling, was going to the park, was going down to Columbia Gorge. I hope to see my kids when I come up there too.
Mike, I got to ask you, and all the time you were in Portland, and you were there, like you said, for quite a while, off and on, but throughout the 80s, you were there more often than not. You got to work everybody that came through the territory, essentially. So this might be putting you on the spot, but out of everything you did in Portland, I'm not going to ask you who was your favorite person to work with, because, it's likely somebody you really got along with, but I am going to ask you, what was your favorite one-night angle? What was the most favorite thing you got to do where you thought, man, this is going to make some money, or you just felt like this was really cool? I really thought this was knocked it out of the park.
There was a couple of them. Yeah, there was a couple of them. I think when I turned over Rip Oliver, I was heel. Me and him were partners for 5, 6 years. All of a sudden, I turned on him. I knew that was going to draw. And I think... I don't know. There was another one where where he put a dress on me, put lipstick on me, and me and Rip took that all around Washington, Oregon, and that really drew it because they wanted to see Rip wear that dress, and I would run after it and never catch him until like on a Saturday night in Portland. There's been several angles going that first you think, well, this is going to draw, and then after you do it, you might have forgot something or something like that. But I think anything I've ever done in Portland that I've stuck my nose out in, it worked. Because the people they love wrestling. Doesn't matter what kind of angle you cut, as long as you keep it exciting. Just like old Don Kosh used to always say, there's excitement in the air. It is. Yeah, even in Portland, Saturday night, if you think about Portland and you think about Saturday night, you're going to think about Portland wrestling, especially from the 90s on back through the 80s and through the 70s. Just like I said, you've had so many people to come in here and work and, and love Don Owens. Don Owens is one of the best promoters ever. He was real good. He treated me good, although he used to always say, Miller, I can't understand a word you say. I said, Don, it don't matter. They don't like me anyway. So, But anyway, I'm looking forward to this expo. I want to see. I would love to see people that used to come to the matches. And there's 2 or 3 groups that used to always come. They were always Miller fans. This area here, this Oregon, Portland is a hill area. Anyway, they love the hills. Buddy Rose loved when he was a hill. Matt Bourne, Ed Wiskowski. You know what? You was asking me the matches that really, I can tell you the match that I really enjoyed. Like when me and Rip had that going. I love working with Rip. I love working with Buddy Rose wrestling. Rocky Johnson, he came into town. I wrestled him like three times in Portland, and that was real good. He was real smooth. I remember one time he come in and he walked in the dress room, had this kid with him, Afro. We're shaking his hand. So this is years later. I'm watching WWF and they go, "What's this guy, The Rock?" And I'm thinking, my God, I wonder if that's Rocky's son. And it wasn't longer. Yep, I was The Rock. I met him when he was like 14. Him strutting around. But he was real nice. He went around, shook everybody's hand. That was a place that if you hadn't wrestled, you needed to. So I was lucky. I was in North Carolina working with I started out in Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee, and then Charlotte, and then finally up in Oregon. And down there, hell, I was wrestling Dusty Rhodes. I was wrestling, Wahoo McDaniels, Bubba Douglas, Ric Flair before he became the champ. He just come in. Bugsy McGraw. I don't know. I just keep nailing. When I see an ad, I'll look, see, and I know I've wrestled all these guys. I mean, when they were in there, just like the Guerrero brothers were here, and Chavo and Hector, people that you really look forward to getting inside the ring and going to town with. At one time, it was one of the hottest wrestling areas. Of course, I didn't know nothing about Portland until after I got into Charlotte. And then I had 3 weeks. I had a wife and a kid. And I said, well, hell, I have to go all the way across the country. I loaded up that car. It took me 3 days, but I made it and stayed at the Bomber. Now, if you want some star stories, there's where you need to go. The Bomber. They say when you come into town, go find the Bomber and they'll have your room. And when I got there, they had your room, and about 2 or 3 of the wrestlers that was our home. That was I'm real sad they took that plane down, though. That really peeved me off. That was something. But anyway, I don't know. I just think Portland was, just like I said, one of the hottest areas at the time. Of course, the talent that we had at one time, we had Tom Pritchard, Wiskowski. You had so many guys that started back east, and Flair would come out once every year, and that would be our big shows. We'd sell out all over. Giant would come in and sell out all over. I remember we were before Rick got it, and then Harley Race got it again. So Harley came to Portland. We had to go to Tacoma. So Rip calls us early in the morning. Man, we got to go up there. It was like 6 in the morning. We had to be up in Tacoma, do a interview for that show, and then another show. But we had to bring Harley with us. So we took Harley Race up there, and Harley, we did the interviews and all. Then we went out and eat, and then we started home. I'm telling you, he said, man, this has been the sorriest trip. We're sitting in a car drinking. I just feel like, so Rose is what he goes, Rip, you got a gun? Rip said, yeah. Reached up there, put some beer on his hand and shoots the beer off of his hand with the gun. He said, I feel better now. And we had the promoter in the back seat, and he was almost, Barry Owens. Barry was funny. He was scared to death.
Mike,
Yeah.
we talked about the passion of the Pacific Northwest fans and all the legends that have crossed into the Pacific Northwest and Portland wrestling history, and a lot of them are going to be coming to the Portland Wrestling Expo on February 22nd. But I had another question for you about Portland wrestling history. Billy Jack Haynes opened up the Oregon Pro Wrestling Federation in 1988, and
Yeah.
you were a part of that. I wanted to know what were your memories of Don Owen's reaction when you told him you were going to be a part of that? And then what did you see went wrong with Billy's promotion over that time period?
It was Billy. It
What was that?
was Billy. Ain't no sense. Hey, Don knew that, WWF was coming in, going to take over and all. But when Billy came out and he started this thing, well, him and Rip were real good friends. I was too, but but I wasn't real close to Billy, but I was there. So he asked us all. So me and Joey Jackson, Coco Samoa, and me, Billy Two Eagles, we all went over there. But I don't think Don ever held it against us. I think Don kind of looked at Billy because he gave Billy his start. Billy just walked off the streets of Portland and he was main event match in about a year. So, I think it kind of hurt Don because Billy was trying to come in and push him out when he already had Vince McMahon. He already, rumors of Vince gonna come in. But I did it because I had a family and I needed to get paid. Because Don went down to about 2 or 3 towns, and we were normally working 7 days a week. So I went out there with Billy, and he, Billy opened up that gym. Then he opened up the skating rink and put a ring in it. And we run shows there for, 3 or 4 months? Or I don't think it was a year. It wasn't long after we started because he was putting me and Rip and Joey and all of us on first and second matches, which that was all right. But, when you're bringing guys from back east and putting them inside the ring and not paying us, and then the people, okay, talk about the fans in Portland. They like local talent. They love local people. So if you bring somebody in, it takes them about a month to get where the people know you and and then before long you're part of the Portland wrestling family. It's really amazing to know that Portland went down so hard. I mean, he was there 60 years, 50 years, and him and Elton used to be a boxer. His brother in Eugene, he used to promote there. Well, he used to box. Had that flat nose. He walked in, Jesus Christ, had a damn flat nose and all. But anyway, I don't know. I was the first time I heard that you guys were going to do this, have a Portland Expo and all. I've been wondering why it hadn't happened before. So this is great, and I want to urge everybody to show up. I mean, if we can do it this time, we can do it again. I just want everybody to know that, especially people that used to come to the Portland sports meet on Saturday. I mean, just bring their kids down there and drop them off. But that was it. I couldn't say no to this one.
I'm looking forward to meeting you that weekend of the Portland Wrestling Expo. It's been so much fun chatting with you. You've been so generous with your time. It all goes down Saturday, February 22nd at the Holiday Inn right by the Portland Airport, the Portland Wrestling Expo. We hope there could be many, but if this is the only one, we're going to do it right. Me and Mike Miller, the Grappler, Top Gun, a.k.a. the Assassin, a.k.a. the Destroyer, Ricky Santana, Moondog Moretti, and we're going to announce a lot of other names from the Portland wrestling territory, some of the younger wrestlers that are in the Pacific Northwest of today, too. So it's going to be a celebration of the Pacific Northwest.
It will be a family reunion of Portland wrestling.
What would Mean Mike say to anybody that isn't coming to the Portland Wrestling Expo this February 22nd?
I just want them to know, look, I'm still around. My buddies are still here. We wrestled for you. We put our bodies on the line every Saturday, all week, and we loved it. And you had decent people, just like I say, like Buddy Rose, Matt Bourne, even Tony Bourne. Portland wrestling, it was a way of life. So I want to see everybody show up. The feelings that I have about Portland is family feelings. I think about it. If I hadn't been back up, that's because I'm kind of retired around my family here, and they want me home, but it don't say I can't get on a plane and come up there. But I do. I want everybody to show up. I remember Ringside Rosie. She used to come up, and I loved her to death. All them kids that used to put them signs up that would show up every Saturday and throw stuff at me and holler at me and call me a greaser and all that. I loved it. The more you did, the more I loved it. But I'll see you on the 21st or the 22nd, and I love you. Take care.
Thank you so much for your time, Mike.
Thanks,
and
Mike.
Head on over to PW Expo right now, everyone listening, to get your tickets for the Portland Wrestling Expo on Saturday, February 22nd.
Be there. Oh, that was a great interview. Man, Nick, it's just week after week. We get so many great names announced for the Portland Wrestling Expo and so many great stars appearing here. And every one of them have so many great stories to tell. You can imagine what you can do with the time allotted when you guys head out February 22nd of next year, early part of the year, and go back to Portland. All the great fans that were there for all those years. They got to see the Mike Millers and the Top Guns and the Ricky Santanas and everyone on down the line. And now they get one more opportunity to come back and say hello one last time. Maybe not. Maybe we'll see how successful this really is. Who knows? But at least this time, and you got to be a part of it because it's just amazing. We have these guys on. They talk for half hour, and we get so many stories. Imagine how many more stories are left to tell and how many more good times are left to be had. So I'm looking so much forward to this, man.
Well, the great thing, and Mike said it before, Mike, the grappler, the assassin, Moondog Moretti, were all, the bad guys of their day. But they're such good human beings and good guys, and that everyone that spent time going to the shows, they couldn't really appreciate them at the time. Or maybe they couldn't get a photo, and they definitely weren't going to get an autograph from them. They were the nasties. They were the bad guys. But now you can come meet some of the guys that you grew up with. Some of the guys you look back and you were like, wow, they were very good at what they did. And you get to see them all reunited. And maybe there could be more, but there is no guarantee. And what I've realized, and we've talked about Ray, you and I, and then also we've talked about with Barry, is that every one of these conventions, it's sad to say that when everyone's in a room together, when there's 8, 9, 10, 11 wrestlers in a room together, it could be the last time everyone's in a room together. That's just the world that we live in. So I don't want to take anything for granted. This Portland Wrestling Expo, maybe there will be more, but, at the very least, this is going to be one event that will be able to properly give the just due that Portland Wrestling and the Owen family had to do with the Pacific Northwest and how that was an institution for 60 years. And it's the 100th anniversary next year. So, I mean, all roads lead to the Portland Wrestling Expo on February 22nd. I'm excited already, and we're still 4 months away.
All roads lead. I think that's copyrighted somewhere else, but that's okay. We'll use it here anyway. And I'm just saying, regardless, everybody's been waiting. Don Owens went out of business in 1992, something like that, right? More than 30 years ago. People have been waiting 30 years to see something like this, I'd have to imagine. And now you've given them the opportunity. So don't sit here and wait and go, I'll catch it next time, because A, like you said, we don't know if there's going to be a next time. But B, this is it. It's what you've been waiting for. It's finally arriving. It's right around the corner. Get your tickets now because, I know you got some VIP meet and greets and things like that going on that you're already selling tickets for. You guys don't want to miss this. And I just can't wait, man. Just can't wait.
We're over 25% sold out on the VIP tickets. The VIP tickets, they are, of course, as you would think, they are the top level ticket, but it includes meet and greet with at least 6 Portland wrestling legends. You're going to get early admission to the con. You're going to get the 90-minute Portland 100 Q&A, which takes place after the con. You're going to get a commemorative print from Portland Wrestling's past, and you're going to get a reserved seat to Friday night, February 21st, the Grapplers Pro Wrestling Road Stories. So we limited the amount of tickets, and we're already 25%, more than 25% sold out. And, we have something in every price range. Tickets start as low as $25, and even that price includes an autograph of a soon-to-be-announced Portland-related guest. So we really hope everyone within, let's say, 400 miles driving distance and in the continental United States flying distance can get over to the Portland, the Holiday Inn Portland Airport for the Portland Wrestling Expo.
Well, sounds absolutely like a blast. Going to be a fun time, no doubt about it. And if it's not, we'll make it a fun time anyway, right? So, names are still, I hope to be there, but names are still coming. That's the thing. And I hear rumors abound.
Ray may have been privy to a little off-air confirmation, which, depending on when you hear this podcast, it may or may not be announced, but we just locked in a featured guest for the Portland Wrestling Expo.
I'll just say I'm amazed.
And it is someone who does not do a lot, and it is someone who, held championships in Portland. So that announcement will come at some point this month. That's all I'm going to say. I've broke a lot of news on this podcast, but when that news comes out, I'm smiling just at the thought of the announcement. Make sure to head on over to pwexpo.com for all of the information on the Portland Wrestling Expo.
Well, give them your other social media too, Nick, as we get ready to wrap this up.
Absolutely. Head on over to Captain's Corner on Facebook. We have daily news of our upcoming signings, upcoming conventions like the Wrestling Classic 5 and the Portland Wrestling Expo, and a lot of private signings. We have a private signing with Nature Boy Ric Flair in the next couple of weeks. So still some time to get your mail order in. And check us out on Instagram as well, Captain's Corner.
Fantastic. And don't forget, guys, lots of other podcasts to be had over at WrestleCopia.com. From Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and somebody say something about Wildfire Tommy Rich is joining permanently Dangerous Conversations. So it's now Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. And of course, the Wrestling Stoop with Bob Roop. Oh my God, what a great time to jump in on that, guys, because we've begun talking about the Knoxville situation. Remember the old Knoxville 5, the Plan B video? We're getting into all of that right now. Perfect timing. If you haven't listened to Bob Roop yet, everybody's heard Ron Fuller's side of the story for years. Now it's time to hear Bob's side. And all of that and so much more over at WrestleCopia.com. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at Facebook.com/WrestlingGrenade. And hey, we got a Patreon too, guys. Help me pay the bills. Keep all of this great stuff going, Nick, right? Patreon.com/WrestleCopia. And we don't just, give you the shows or whatever we already play for free. Lots of great gifts there for the $5 all access tier and the VIP superfan tier. Lots of video casts coming there. So got my piece out of the way.
Well, as always, Ray, thank you for being the co-host to this voyage that we've been on 6 times now. Each episode gets a little bigger. It gets a little better. And I want to thank you for being the best producer around and giving the Captain's Corner podcast a great home that it has.
Well, it's great to have you. I had you here with Barry. You guys do the GrappleCon stuff, and it just seemed like a no-brainer to get the Captain's Corner out there in the podcast world. And, hopefully we get some video casts coming, too. We're going to try to work in, as we talked about, a little watch-along series coming up here as part of the Captain's Corner. But, looking forward to doing this again and again, man. So anytime you're ready, just holler, and we'll get another one of these out.
I think episode 7 will come sooner rather than later, that's for sure.
All right, sounds good, Nick. Have a great one, man. Thank you so much for being a part of WrestleCopia.
Cheers to the working man.